afakrata a converting ene party penifo didi nkomo akotua ne sika wasi se obeso otu franka edema New Patriotic Party no di omanim kwaji tumi ma wo 2028 into 31st of January omu nyina Japan se omu koto aba no ma yido betu franka ma wo ne kasa mafo official ena no pay ofia ene na twetwe nkomo oye delegate aben wa homa no be wa fidie oye obi a oye obi a woto aben ni bia ben wa fidie Ghana for nyina ben wa fidie ene it is Kennedy akompreko Japan ne kasa mafo I was here to say
menua me hoye me bra peni so ode wo ho
edo ba dia sa me sha ho
na me ho se so yen say that dey wa
adubo David Adom so you can join us live on Facebook. That is Sumpa 93.1. Share the link and then stay with us. I was see there na do abekumase e bia na obi na epamo no abeba urai ha ba me nyante ese so besra yenti ba ma me musa onante se
o me nante se boko de medikai amawachi na me chia santimai o se ya kan for there abrebi ameka se ya sum ya hene asantiti no entima ba de na me fasa akwanya yesu achia otumfo na na o se tutu the second mse chiano se kwanya se kwanya o se itimi na santima ya de edwetun.
That's right.
Ni tia wa mu nyina na se you racket or the Swadi who so say that Chibido or the minor so as the president of the country. And also to me, you said be a question and never for there.
That's right.
And to me, one more with the other so one can cry the other day.
At the mount
Who hear by a kind of cry actually why the femo because if you're 9 cry, Aquania bar, you still have to renew it. What you acquire you feel what you. It is your best so the answer you see a here to him from the 2 million day.
Eh, omodia.
Na a book council na what would you try day? I could see almost now 2 million day after more. Assassin Kakra on one a proper Assasia because I free western of now or Kobono East or Kahafo. Nano ya in cha breaking Kakra. Na America so video VP ni adia also no
to kodim kita ho
kakra so edu edia edi se so ye kasaba no nti bi ono so nam ha no na so ye nam ha afa ne afa ne so ye se ne so ne party for the ye
din kita ho
ne so ye che papa ne so ade professor be de
okay that's right
bi also no se akoye nipa to da bi kura no ma bi wo ha e fa no ho and sebi wo ha ni papa so mo ti ase fa no ho ono ni sebi o faze onya ebre en
kan nyina that's right
so what this akonya na ma hede na so mo fidie sebi o kwachi ni ade no o ma he so de o ma hede who see wunya de na enya kwanya ni achechi mu papa na ni so ade huru na ensebi sala ko mienu bi so atiefo ani ahwefo be fa so busa ni atimi ayede achi die de 2 million ese a book as a whole say party for 2 million and no more. Now there's a party in from when you know so Santa Video.
That's right.
But now what in Santa and now you know because be free so but see by home by day market. Nanka there nanka sebi group etimi tuaba na this are what they are a conscious star or your region when the team tuaba they have almost about 7 to 8 seats or Santa
Zero.
We share and never cry that there are about 4 regions. I mean, because of my MPP need 1 parliamentary seat.
How possible?
How possible? Now,
4 regions.
4 regions. Some no young one. There were 9 regions and the cumulative seats near Mahuma 98. Out of 98, MPP or 5.
9 regions.
Yes, 9 regions. Cumulative.
NDC was saying 98. 93.
Yes,
MPP was 5. 5.
Yes, 5.
Out of 9 regions.
Yes. Wow. But
And go for say super.
I just want to give you an idea.
Yes.
The current state of the party. About twice quadrillion. So
What?
there were 270.
Imagine call.
276 constituencies. MPP lose 199. 199. From the 276 constituencies, you lose 199. Do you constituencies so far the percentage terms are about 72%.
But what's so way, you know? I saw green. Okay. Yeah, it's on.
About a quadrillion. Out of 276 constituencies, 199 at TI. 199. So, what the parliamentary got?
Yeah, it's there.
It's 33, 169.
About 137, 38.
And I say,
and about 88.
7.
I say, I must lose back.
So,
now I say, MPP is on the decline.
But be a party leader is very sad.
Maybe if I understand you well, if you look at the trajectory there, MPP is on a decline.
Yes.
From 169 to 137 to 88. Yes. There's a man here, I'm betting my call 44.
I mean,
some free 69, about 37, about 88. 88 to pay me, I say 44.
To even give more clarity to it, so they compare 2020 about Kotoya nationally, no. So national, the whole country, your votes should take 33% MPP
on the national scale.
On the national scale, yes. When they compare the southern regions, now the 11 southern regions, your votes should take 31%, and at the northern part, your votes should take 16%.
Why are you being unattractive? A bad day.
A valid question. None the aquay. Musen Canen, ye inquiry, now the entire say MPP party a catch for party. Oh, my hand that's when you figure out as a party
for the late and a bone in the
what I say because everybody will be a book long. And do shall not our current MPP. Say the state of this current MPP. Worship party, nay, the old NDC.
Okay.
Under the old NDC, no, so they say a highly unattractive.
I bet the old MPP.
Yeah, switch it into one scenario. Look at the university campuses. How on earth, and a party, yes, or no, I want the university campus.
This time around.
Also the university campus.
Yes.
So I also live on.
Ebin Sida. I also was Wogona MPP and Lusu campus. KNUST nye. Winnie you were losing virtually all the university campus.
Yes. My mom another instance. I buy a cotton and so. The MPP for almost 345,000 plus to my parliamentary candidates. So we will to tear presidential.
345,000
plus, yes. One would took my parliamentary. Who's a skirt and blouse? I had to my president.
But let me understand this. The same Busa there. Adeba Kwame say when you add most elections, when you add the votes of the presidential candidate and that of the MP, most often than not, not presidential candidate no votes does change. Parliamentary combined.
Yes.
This time around,
it's a reverse.
That's
the first time we are having that in history.
They make count say most often than not. Etubon say Omampani jo mama we ni ebre bi kwa na say a fictitious onya more than 400,000 tina ebro sododo. J Kufo we ni ye no or we ni more than Olusukura no a even 39% onya ye no na the votes do so change parliamentary candidates. 2004 na the votes Ekufuado we ni Olusu 208 na the votes to do so change parliamentary. 2012 now the votes to check 2016 graduate omukra 2020 sir your mama win the votes to do so check the parliamentary even though we are 183 no still and the votes to do so check one it's most often than not
that has been the trend say
but that was the trend now Bawumia's vote was
usually no the popularity of the candidates no and the party no echo. Remember one scenario. If you look at Akufo-Addo in 2020, in 2016, now we attack Galamsey very aggressively.
Very good. That's right.
It's not almost a Galamsey, no, who say no, a long chain. Who are no Ramanema, or Hennemame, or Henne Papa. If you cry, I want to be you an army and so home. Will be a shop among we will be sure. You shall know about Kubisa Friday.
I couldn't crave
or
they actually.
So Galamsey with that level of aggression. And never for a no.
What can you probably do?
So, into 2020, the no be him say any end cry. Again, okay, 2020, then they have banner banks, you collapse banks.
That's right. That's right.
Banking sector.
Among 40 feet.
The amount 40 feet.
Omunyo Musika.
Still, Akufuado's votes rather increase in 2020. And what they call from 5.8 to 6.7. So, and it demonstrates one thing that
popularity.
Yes, the candidate's popularity can move the party along. And one thing that even when we were going for the 2020 election, we never said 4 more for MPP, but they said 4 more for Nana. Because Nana had enjoyed a goodwill for 4 years straight.
So it was to be maintained.
Felt, yes, his popularity can carry the party along. Unfortunately, they drew 2024 and where's that? And of course, I mean, to be fair, we don't blame a single individual. I agree that ultimately it boils down to somebody stepping up and now so be taking responsibility. But they hear a phrase, let's say, and the outcome. Out of 16 regions, they got to about 15 regions, MPP declined in voting 15 regions. 15 regions. They will decline in voting, all of them, when they compare to 2020 elections.
Even Ashanti region, you lost almost 400,000 votes.
Because NDC rather appreciated.
NDC is having 35% now in Ashanti region. Unprecedented. The last time Omubanye was 28%.
When they almost 40%. And the idea, maybe a party in general, is so crucial.
Is it a matter, say, the issue is with the candidate?
I mean, you see, certainly, if you look at the history, how candidates' popularity has been able to traject parties into power, and of course, let's even look at the statistics. If you look at the statistics, for instance, from Abronye, the first timer, Abronye, what was his first performance? Abronye, Sabrina or collection, those were the times that Rawlings had ruled this country for about 11 years in military regime, and now Rawlings, the powers that be, then compelled him on transition and democracy. Zobekaya. Into one of Sabrina by a tron, one Basaban obey the overture, and a can be a say on the on tour. At that time, no one would be a friend who pick ballot boxes.
And
there were places you call no mere coalition with the good Jude backs him. You say win a woman as a winner, a gum. Opinion make an soldier force on the guard you.
That's right.
Yes, still, even during those times, Papa Dubois was able to still get 30%. But I know the percentage is not even significant. Let's even look at the performance vis-a-vis Rawlings in terms of Olusu say. He lost his 1.1 million votes difference. Then you move on beyond Professor Dubois. May for be our first term. Abba and Sakra Mabefa, the MPP's trajectory, home command remember. Now, Professor Dubois, a call first term. Party for no call to Abanasma party for no call second term, one more a quarter 96 primaries, almost a Dubois and into a Musil. Mind you, Dubois literally had about just even 3 months to campaign, almost the same as Kofor. Who were almost Kofor the NTSA. But the Tessa say, Kofor's election, one more to about mind is over fan a vice presidential candidate, the Bay Pro to about what the Bay 3-4 months fan a vice to start proper campaign. He barely had about 3 months to campaign. Yes, so he demonstrated also that remarkable track record. So wait the party no votes in the account. So it's not really about your performance per se, but your performance in reference to the trajectory and answer records before the 39%.
That's right.
So then there was a basis to say, oh, and yeah, said you for the day, a channel twice.
What you appreciate,
and what the call a fee 2,000 a day or until there was no basis for anybody to say, for day, uncle. Then Akufo-Addo also came into power, into being. Akufo-Addo had 4.5 million on the first time. Even in the Akufo-Addo's first time, he won for the first round.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Second round,
across the side. He won the first round and was leading at around 23,000 votes. Right? Well, no, he was leading over 100,000 votes. All Akufo-Addo needed was about 23,000 votes to be able to win. In addition, and Kwatima crossed 50+1.
And
So Akufo-Addo's popularity again, Akufo-Addo so be far 439 no call
49.
Yeah, 49. Yes, 49 then.
10%.
Yeah, 10%. Almost 10% because of the points but we rounded up to 10% say the OC Kenya. And Akufo-Addo also demonstrated the remarkable track record so also between the party na day. Then one also actually no here just about 23,000 votes anye. And Janontina will be catch us say aka 9 pa it become very misleading, you know. Akufo-Addo just in there 23,000 votes. Yet it took him 3 election cycles and san oyede. Oba. It would 1.7 million. No 9 pass them near day. Yeka. Obeni. 9 pass them near day. Yeka. Then Akufo-Addo then demonstrated the track record. And you know would the bar for my day in ye. Then the second time we call crowd so okay 2012. Sabe now maybe no more cares be near the one near you. You guy be young guy be by confidence.
I'm
funny crazy. Sabe na me trade na me say me kwa earphone me nya small space e maso a e say boy lawyer na so di baby na mu hey benfoi mo che lawyer sakese. Sabe no so mo kai the court, even when they went to the court to contest the outcome of that election, the court, 4 of the justices agreed with Akufo-Addo say we are no. It only 5 that dissented. It was 5-4. Until then, how do you then
money basis?
How do you then say we change Akufo-Addo? Until means sano because our election very keenly contested, very close. And even in that election, he went to the Supreme Court and the apex court of the land. 4 of the justices says openly, you know we are doing election here. We are on you can't say so we change such a candidate. What you say? And what they buy the bar 2016 or the be winning 2020 card or Sadi be here a can't hold. Then we came to 2024. In 2024, no, Dr. Bawumia declined Akufo-Addo's votes by 33%.
Akufo-Addo votes are only in 2020. No?
Yes, yes, or so by 33%.
Now I don't know that so. Now say a member in Niama be involved.
You see,
is it about Bawumia?
No, you see, that to be very honest, you may want to look at the factors that cause you defeat. You know? I mean, it will be very unfair to say so on and carry cross. But then again, then what then is leadership? Because
the brand.
Yes, what then is leadership? Because the factors that may have caused Dr. Bawumia in this election, those factors also existed in the Dubois time, and even more. What I say, those factors existed in Kufuor's time, and even worse then, because you the name Tesi power per you. Kufuor was even then coming as an opposition leader, but we had a certain vice president for the past 8 years, and has also been a former vice presidential candidate for the past 8 years. For consistently for 16 years, you've had the opportunity to market yourself. Then again, the question of marketability and visibility comes in. Whether or not marketability is the same as visibility. Openi, you can be visible but yet not marketable. Because marketability is benchmarked on acceptability. For the Jutum, that is marketability.
Say ton one, say your ton.
Your ton are visible. You whom they be are.
So Nipana Juatu.
What then becomes a marketability. And to share the past 16 years for he being around. Now they compare to John Mahama. No vice or no the only time of Bayer was about most Wu but his first election he won. We heard Rollins for the first time and also contested first election he won. If you look at Akufo-Addo's first round, he won. Then Akufo-Addo at the time he pulled that performance on. The highest office that he had occupied was 2 ministerial appointments. Okay, Attorney General and a foreign affairs. So, Kufuor there no appointment to be out, but he demonstrated that track record. In the Oba, now, dear no, a quiet up now the back down. You cannot say on because you are also part of the government.
Okay.
In one scenario, if we talk about DDEP, how then do you say DDEP, a pure economic policy, you want to separate the vice president from it? The NAPCO people know over 100,000 recruited for about 2 years. How then do you say you separate the vice president from it? When you call central region and promise them say BC Airport Amoma Yensino, which obviously was the vice president that championed. How then do you look into Ghanaians face say Omonkahu? You pick dollar from 1 to 4, right? More than some way business the
dollar was 4.3.
4. No, 1 to 4.3.
Yeah.
Then we'll connect 17. Forget about anything.
16.
but almost we not running now.
They're
16. They're 16.
Approximately 16.
How then do you convince Ghanaians to say whether you caused it or you didn't cause it? And we don't blame because we'll be in COVID and its repercussions. But at that time, you know, as a matter of strategy, you know, it was a wrong strategy to prevent a candidate, party for the Ghana for whom to say he has directly been responsible with economic management. No, it won't work on that note. What I say? How then do you explain to Ghanaians and say, $1 no, afraid nipa na wo so economic messiah or no make his statement to say, "Wa arrested dollar no e the key na my IGP." But you tell was so arrest obi krom sika. Say see the crowd aka so arrest it makes sense. Because when the world krom sika, Trump musika o mudi no. Somebody made the declarations of arrest and give so much hope to people. By the time you were leaving, it was then once to almost 70. How then do you say that Ghanaians will not punish us for that? And yes, there are some factors that it may not necessarily have been engineered by our former vice president or our flag bearer. But the truth is that you can also not decouple him from it. Because you see, so of a no jawa japadia, ofa meboa. Nemo woja okoko, na sebi okoko na kaso of wakatesi so yamdo. And the beauty of leadership is that you become responsible for the good things and the bad things. It cannot be said interoperability, you own it up. It cannot be said digitalization, you own it up. It cannot be that any good thing you own it up. We can say value than 1,000 interchange the Ghana card. You cannot say which I disagree anyway. You cannot own all of them up, and then when it comes to you then believe say then what is the governance and the you are part of the governance and ultimately you bear the brand. But at the end of the day, okay, fine.
Mami Brownche. Why can?
Minya, Ubusam say why can? One I've given you, I'm going to address it from two instances. The first instance in the current state of the party, and the second instance is the current state of the country. You see, to be fair, Mahama has attempted to restore a certain hope. I mean, to be fair to him, even though largely he's just playing the optics and playing what Ghanaians want to see. And na Ghana for person here the ehu. Recently, Matter say so I restore Indium, the bank, you know. I don't know how true it is, but this
I think I hear there's something like that in the pipeline.
Granted, without admitting that, these are what Ghanaians were like. Not on the basis say be a Indium, no any regulatory issues be out, and they be out you yes, and Kofosika now. Most importantly, is you might be the who send the human ever. So to the ordinary Ghanaian. Or mind the basic decent life I'll be living in his own country. No, or mind so we school or krum how wow my muha. You cannot live such a basic life. Me meeting ye. Me no UDS. Yeah, we school. Me train for 3 years. Me nya after 3 years on nya on one my mo. Enti the basic things I said you obeti manya ejuma ato amount satima ko anu wow my mo ntimi nya de. How then do you think about buying a car? How then do you think about building a house? Obi my enyini so enkwachire
Danka.
Enyini so nyina na ye de enyini ko anim. Ti no busa mem. O na unyini ko anim. O de ye busa secret no. O ka so na me ado so na share bag mo. What I say? Nti the basic necessities of life, you can't say live a luxurious life, but you are just living a decent life in your own country. Untimi live our own country. Do you hear the boys na? Sane ma me asase no aton. No they apply school. No akọ Canada. Enye school no person okọ. Oboa. Or no any country ma the Ghanaian dream no onye bi nye dey in live. Ghanaian dream na ne say, on setimi ko wa no. So person worry otimi worry. So person ha da otimi ye dey ha da within a reasonable period that wetin wan adwuma ko pension no. So person dey be uti tu baabi o dey uti aye dey atu baabi. Yen ka say kotwi Range Rover. But sebi o say Corolla, say a vet na person o tokra otimi try dey ebobra. Or my Sasma making would for Ghana for a nipa 100 emu 80% to 90% don't have this basic decent life. And it becomes even sad. So also cry a cool school and can near school and away juma. But this time around, no school cry you cry there.
As a why as what school.
As what I upon the class over the school. Nani na kusi say. Nini na kusi a juma and once a my head.
I want for so broth was look at
almost a broth no head mate. Nini na adwuma ho asema ye dey ye ken o ma wo hwe World Banker won mo say in fake akra bia e dey anim no until I make a bet 2030 asemo nipa e be hwehwe adwuma e wo developing economies you make developing economies that make a big brain ha Ghana yede one say about 1.2 billion in the bayo hedjuma no mo see ni pass 1.2 billion na omo hedjuma bibre nya djuma no because our job market no anyhow almost say about just 420 million penny bede ebenya say djuma no tibusa ho say one mo aka be almost a billion omo kofa say djuma na yede e wo he ti djuma sem ho asem ka yede eden oba Ghana ha ye throw your statistics mu say oh your unemployment rate 14% pe 14% you be your dada say bia yede eye umani kuntia because wo hwe won mo nya djuma na e wo ho in statistics 14%. But we now into the informal sector. In the informal sector, no, as we cover and calculating the obakachi also a juma. But we say juma the tweet and the light bill, a tweet and the water bill. Send a year in your bit media ko yin or confirm not here. So in a busy problem to say be a surgery and no emergency, which me high in your huska. I saw conference any. One more moya jumano, Tiasemi you, one more moya a juma Ghana hano. When you American Ghana Statistical Services say. 80% underpaid. You will triple less than 3,000 cedis. Yeah, think I know. You know, high single room 2,000 Ghana cedis. Kumasi has upper decent life. Or high single room 1,005. Now, high single room 1,500 cedis. Maybe about top petrol go curb. O my me and subject school fees. I'm a sound crammy and son. Obit your tight, so you'll be a UGD or Quassoria. Say Obekwe you, won't but to singlet, over to blaze.
So we are magicians.
We are magicians. And on the chrono no yade eban. So chrono ne corruption ne ade ho asema ye ka no. Sometimes nkofo we are see epese but wonu we are for survivor. So, into 80% no a wonu mo ye adwuma no are underpaid. And the same Ghana Statistical Service no say 20% kwa de wonu mo live in abject poverty. Now 80% impo eso mo ye adwuma no less than 3,000 cedis. What you say? Now 20% so kwa de so mo ye extremely poor. And to share the country now, then you look at the country, the whole 100% no, of data no, and you're within the poverty bucket.
O can say,
may Cassie say, maybe a year druno, in here will be or the new mine.
Obi obetimi atrasi adwene
akreti yes.
And you think Ken is the person?
So track record no. Track record near day will be the biggest African biggest coal store in Africa. Or say the biggest coal store in West Africa. Will be the biggest steel plant. In Chakra in about 6 and a grateful for na a delay can commission that or food factory or
starch
factory no money normal I mean the media so media groups yes it and it's one person at his private capacity etimi say na say ni pa kono ka chose or my or ba be enuma memamu ani biaye with the state authority or minor ho odin or mine to me, or minor esika, or minor resources, or castle. One day, not be wouldn't seem nice will be a Maya. I didn't tell me one, any class of watching it too. Tihona can the person a day. Oba, can who's away? This was 65 years. Maybe a druno, Sebio, a day and Aje. The Akenina, yes, a dimpa. Now, Yankopon, blind, Yankopo Frock, which a monster, also a crowd or by what's my day. Abua. Sikano will never. A mano 22 so and that was say 23 officially unofficially 22 what I say abusuans why dey why be the always say nipa yi wo wiase bia why dey why be ne mo a wo bo ani ade
to hia o man si
ya bia ba bia edru no ye say wono so bia edru no wono so beja dimpa ne aka so owura bi ba ne fere Canada nkofo so na ni eden nkofo so ka na adwen nkofo se de anya no obede obeka nkofo se kan de won tiase nkofo se kan de ma ne nsisi ma o ma ne nsisu but beyond that no obibie enuma ma nkofo a no mo susu se untimi emobra Ghana ha untimi nya hwe Ghana ha unya ebi ye de e Ghana so that's why Ken is coming obibie enuma no ama hotai de aba now nim me mu an nya djuma ye no otwa taxes otwa taxes no ana o minus susu etimenya bi de de aye akwan esi hospitals any ade so that's what the vision of Ken is coming to do.
Give them jobs.
Yeah, give them jobs.
Let them pay taxes.
Yeah, let them pay taxes.
Let's use it to develop the nation.
Assembly nyina nti Ken nyina eno ano no
na yeah bro for sem
David say na no me say papa ba ko de me modi eso say Ken e ba kra akwa me for ntimi nya negotiations but even that mentality no e wrong even in the first place.
Ontimi nya negotiations
was a Ken nya presidential material and I don't know why me for kra ontimi ne abrofo no nkasa
Are they?
But in the first place, who compare the IMF? So what's the share my year at the 2 number year? Who compare the Russian president so on Cabrofo? And the honor to money mine. Gaddafi Tihe. Russian president what you swanka. Z China ni what you know onka. And your money money. What has English got to do? Na nipo what the parliament say you tree worker. Na said you ye tree impono, sano near Becampa, now on Sabako and Mama Yede. Ghanaians are more interested in Sebi, say Nipo Betimamo Mojuma, or Bashish or Mino, or the discipline of a woman. Here may be a party. Look at the background I've given to you. Let's hear Koye. Look at the background. You're presenting northern candidates. Yes, so the worst performance in the north and the Nyai. Zongo communities. Now Dr. Bawumia responded. Then he confused Zongo communities with Zongo police stations. We were saying, say, Zongo communities will lose all Zongo communities. Then quickly he then came to Spain. Or said there be Zongo police station, we need. We are not talking about police. We are talking about communities. You know there's communities. What I say? Even despite the fact that Kawoye Cremonino, you are predominantly associated with the Islam community in the Zongo community. Yes, we lost there. And to be a party in general. Now no kwe ablekuma yekoye hwehwe mo hwe ye okay now no hwe ayi dia kwa kumidi yekoye yekoto seat ne twene and the akwatia and the worst decision ever we made is Tamale Central yenko and this ifo hu no mso ka ase de ebeko Tamale Central o man wo de wa yedwuma ya che yekwa yimsi yenwini but now your opportunity to present a candidate
and make an impact for 2028
for 2028 the market because you win seat in there but yes still the decision of the party is at yemko. It may be a party in general. Now, no sort of comments. Abronye.
I've seen your letter. Much has said they should be sanctioned any day.
Yeah.
There are people who also have a view. Say Kennedy's vituperations, there a certain anger, the temperament, and yet for leadership. How do you resolve that?
Oh my.
Nibufua some obeki kanin some bia waki kania
na no kwe omuso mu hu ba ko America na no ya ho bi send say so Kennedy on the sign but my main chair wade o my Kennedy onye sent we tran aka cho say Kennedy ye osro abofo konkra na me yetrofo nipa bia wo ade a na strength na ho oden ye de ejina ano wo bibi so abori be ka say the shortcomings
the sweet weakness
so ye de o man otu o obi me kwese kwa atim ye de me obi minim candidates on more presidential primaries ya ebi so asem de o very humble obi so hu say no say nipa kro no obi atimi ye de control no we weak ntesa ye ntibi de bia nti it all depends on how see the efu whether say obi hu nsuo see de agu kruam so obi hu say half full than I say half full it all depends on how you see it. And no maybe wa Kennedy aya me sure say we nipa ene ono akwa ate ono ma na kwanya onye dey onye bi okay no mani bi wo ha yinyina besre na ye de dwato aye dey aka ho but eno ma no ofa na 100% or how mu abu pen
na to turn papa ye
about 99% crowd for some ye kase Kennedy kasabasa Kennedy nye papa nyina were in defense of the party. I remember one example so ka mrebia opani e friend osafo maafo pani e friend akufado gabi osare ochidako bedi atuo no wonu kosi a party fo bi o gabi fie e wo eastern region no mo ka se hwe na nkomo a we dey party nkomo ne hebede ebedi no wonu mu di nkomo obeje di se obi fa phone e record the osafo maafo ye dey
e kai
we wan fan come MPP station no de come Accra FM and NDC station so omo
no omo boy na nkede ntokwa kese
ebeto
achim ne asante fontem
se wona wo yo obi a wodu sika sponsor party na fiti tama ete party
no the man ka say be before Jimmy
no yes because to him no nyansani bi en ho be
there's a sad day na man ka say ah me party for Jimmy it's a better na wo akọ record obi o party penny
yes
now they have a 12 bontain na wo wi a
yes
what's up ka say wo do party no
what
before
yes komo
party for na Jimmy. That was the reason why
that was the contest. As we need page now, so
say was a party na Jimmy.
When we just comment in the ground, okay, 2015. Yes, so Akufo-Addo won in 2016. As when after 2024, most say comment no, and you lose election. You see the logic.
Okay.
You see the logic.
I just said the you know, or you want to say party babetima recorded penny sabe create problem.
Yes, especially what do see cash party mu do party na wo ye party ni a wo busuafo nyina ye party for We no man in party for papa no mammy in party for Muja you trap party near the ebano. Assembles are the better how. When you complain on that angle, yeah, say a Dixon and wedding.
That's right.
Maybe a PR person. Maybe Jimmy and make us so small ye dear. Sebioka, yeah, fry, and I now say or one form. What I say, Obi Becano in a different way. But you see, on my it's also about time on. Ma you weaken the leaders that you want to bring.
Okay.
You name himself on my sword. Road safety regulations has basic attitude intimate air enforcer. Who took we a regular traveler or chances of survivor about 40%. Not because of the nature of the roads per se, but because of your super idea day and I'm quite also.
Do you seek and say obey me the discipline about me?
I want to make a bay. Sanitation. On my minimum so would you na kwena wo took baby. Adia wo catch a boni on tia say black man on where did you ya and we are going to mean a manage on the crew. Adia flat afibia near perenia and crying a tdbia fibia and can't want them. Most of them attitude now. And then crowd ya barber commander. For Galam say ya can't want some and ne NDC ya won't to me so Galam say I be your biggest minister. Yes, we yes, we are holding a shan ya and a sell quad and coffee. Only me here. Galam say, now it requires one thing political war. So being the leader, you catch us say enough is enough. Me instead of Galamsey, maybe good and maybe to a tourism. Because after all, what is it? Good, Nehemiah say. Compare ethanol. Alcohol, yeah. Casapreco low, one person import $2 billion of alcohol. About my Muhankwa, the Ghanaian market alone. Not even talk about the other West African communities. And they say, identify Casapreco Makumaku 20. Oh, Africa Hankwa. Near Cassie, Jabanch and Kwan convert into ethanol. 2 times 20 will give us $40 billion. Nowhere what gold gives us. No matter yes, and I day. No matter yes, and I day. And you need that visionary leader. Singapore, there no more. Singapore population there no more. Singapore is around 9 to 11 million. But there no more. On the basis of pure tourism, young kunom go there to 100 tourism young kunom. Oh, and there is a link. Our real sonko eda. Agriculture and socio-economic transformation so might be a be developed. Our real sonko at that tourism and socio-economic transformation. Kennedy say, Adia Bakua was a year done a come so you say, all the other regions are kana. It's almost a ghost town, it's almost a ghost city. My mom come say, Unutama Kumasi at the bar Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It drew Monday, Sunday, you will be a Janako, will be a concrete. Kumasi is almost a dead city, and I say this without any disrespect. How do you make sure say Kumasi a fair koso and numa koso a dready koso? Only the one thing I was saying, and more be a movement crab you. Who ministries? I one crown more a yejuma. Ministries on teaching for a Fabra Santa region. Maybe a fan say be a ministry to be education. Who's a central dumpong, Monsieur Pa, and Fanco. Who will be a Greek, Fako North. Who will be energy, Fako Western. If you are woman and say you are Fabra Santa. Bakua. And this said the whole country will be a move up a crown. This time around, maybe a dual Ministry of Education. Your 29 agencies in Kwan, I say 29 agencies in the our foreign partners and institutions or no more a yajima. Yibra Fefasibia, Sanumpo, even if Kumasi has just 2 ministries in power. Nipa Ben now have to transact with Kumasi. Or my Obana, there's our own high hotel. On Tobiane. Ebiswa, Befaka to Ebukra. What I say? Oh no, we now have a agencies, no Babaji offices. Oh, Babaji office, no better than Juma. And instead of seeing a transacting with a crown this time around, pay a be education about central, pa Greek, a be about Kumasi, Puya and on the Bema minor, a picture, the regions becomes active. Yes, that is the true definition of decentralization. Be active. I feel no. Then you realize there are problems. Problem is you be a 2 can you intercross your rules. Am I? Your train system here the MIA. Na fe won say o man here the developer. These are way a fellow common sense approach to solving problems. And we who here practical mind. Who here be our be pay. You can rich ideas ideas of track record. And your ideas I said you can free book man ChatGPT assembly a idea of records why you be pay. And that's what Kennedy is coming to do.
Abono kron apa me to do sia many agosi kwatin owo Kennedy ashe ya or church Kennedy semu. Ade ba ko ni mo party no grassroots.
there are a whole lot of agitations. Bibi Efre and Kabum. How do you see Kennedy bringing everybody on board? Because Cecilia Moko election, executives bebre Eddie Kennedy achi, former ministers, former appointees, ebi o Kennedy ho, ebi o Bawumia ho, Brian Champon, one day. Do you see a unifier in Kennedy? Say obetimi akaoma boom because Samuji flag bearer now and Kabuma to me ama you will lose the elections.
I remember 2 leaders and their trademark. My 2 leaders and their trademark. Yesterday, thank you, Tono. Kennedy Kasa first. The first comment or cast says, I need a 1 K and 1 muma. Niped ni bebiano. Sebu, ye the Yesu Christ by intervene day. That was his first comment. We nipa or Kasaya Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia's first comment or Kaya ewo ho, menami hobu, and I'm saying this as a statement of fact. On the first comment, they say, about 20 quarter year no. And no more bring a course. Now, ono dear, a bit in the village in a mere day, you lose less by no one because no be affected yellow. Ye quarter about to petrol. Now, I said that to no, Nimsy said that to Muso, no persuade day. Ulusu. Muna motive by medium. So you compare the mindset and the thinking of these 2 leaders. One first of all say, ye hear kabum. Party for the IC be a mon final day, and chaye. The Achebia and Pediforce Achan where the sun be born and find the NJ. And no money be wire and to 20 years. Then another leader comes in and attempt to shift blame and make it look like say, on the boss and I no maybe a mayor the Yejina say. And this is our 2 leaders say, O my ye cadode and Kabum ebeba and now the oppressor of a burn Kabuma. Their track record and their public utterances has always been clear. One more example. So she say, now the Alancha Matiachi, Eddie before free party nima. Free party nimu on the basis say, "Whoa, GDB say Bawumia became a beneficiary of how Alan was mistreated." Between Bawumia winning flag bearer and between Kennedy winning flag bearer, when our year Alan person our koya, kahwa mum na baba bedineti. Alan okoye no, said okoye nyahwe o. But ne corner okoye no gave a different picture about the party. I said be a cast of politician to in the table so. I'm pointing to me for the issue tables, but with much edge and a issue table so you can determine the type of food on your table. So Alan may have not won by himself, but Kono Koy and a bit more affected your chances and the voter outcome because who say into 10 years party for me be who say into 10 years. Your party for Makuma 2.1 million our man Kotwaba. And there's a 1.7 million votes difference as well. So you didn't. And between these 2 candidates, Bako appears to be the establishment. Establishment is 16 years in you. Party nenya 32 years. Mekwa de ko 32 years na wo mu 16 years wa ba wo nya party wa enjoy. Other party na se na nkwa de wa free mu. Na won mo hunu so wo mu na twa party na fu no. Ono ya pamo no ene ne nkwa fa akotanten. Wo sa ni pakro no between obi a ono ntu osusu se pamo no ene ken na ono so wo yem ka obi amu hwan obedi na chi. The Ken, his commitment for unity in India and match. No mind Henano your conference stadium ho. One more as executives ye promote tobacco. Ken at that time had paid $4 million. Yes, so yes, that could promote tobacco. The Ken in his usual element, no coveted the Zemak Kabokoso. But oh my no Ken say the old Ken fought for you and fought for the party people. The new Ken will not fight again, he will build. Did the new Ken in building, you build with everybody. They say we could how, say we could how, say we could how. That is the beauty of democracy. At the end of the day, can do be a day, abum, nina, a team move forward for the 2028. No? So near can you can for more for worker. So a delegate now go to a bar. In Tiaquasi parting. What not trauma? I did not for the eka. Ura sorry them, I did not sorry them for the eka. Oko moxa, a dear nan cremo for the eka. Almost the same. Almost same when they can buy a bed. Yabato. Adiwe no, it has also more to do with the trust and credibility one who place one candidate or contest you. And now about say the candidate we kwakeke. One mu jiwudi. One se ma okeka in the past e bit ma jiwudi. Asem na ye kan 2020 that's all is about to. Ye jiwudi.
Abonten so for now mo ye edom na mo to aba no. About 6 million na mo ba ko to na be 7 million. Almost say delegates no you can the Japan eba ne ba ombeto aba
so mu jindi so wo mi mitwe say Kumasi ya survey second Japan ka say oh opeso obesi confirm not teaching hospital abro for investors bi odi omo ba na other politicians so can random politicians almost on the same level say ya kasa obi anko teke di ogidi so wetima ya chance say emu be edi o watch be kasa Kennedy de o kan o ye dey oyo wa build this reputation na ye dey ama no ho okay ana saade no wotimi challenge the party for amso wo kan de o kasa basa me cheche o muni ade no. That's why I said don't let us also create weak leaders. Now no me try fidie ba ko so say let Ken be Ken. Let Ken be Ken say bi o e bibi na nya me anya de me nka o ye nipa enfonso ye de e wo no ba Ken akoye say boxer bia e che o ring ma o perform ni role and you bobo ball off but what who say papa e friend Zuma na say we pee outside the rings to two blows da there obi so o Ken did asof atem na me say o did asof atem was it there na me say me ko press bi o did press bi so for bia de atem ntia de na wo ye o say Ken did asof atem asofo ben no did o matem mamu ya o kan o masem yi obi nim ne Nigegazim ne bedu ko bi no uko all of them are on record some about the fee be panacho because omo jitu musa de omo ye ne nyede enye ye je nko forecast ye bo nko fopo na no be frame so ka che ken na o make public statement man for asofo na tell am say no we will not weaken him, let him be who he is. You weaken him because we want position. That is the papa the image no ade omo ye na nya there is no way self so koye de okopa ho achew and that is scan for you ye nkopa ho achew de ye so enya no ye kwakopa ho achew because oye nipa no mani bi wo ha I saw the fear trust nigga dey if first trust nigga tra despite media it did not attempt continuous for about 3 months e kokodi dia for attempt and then Ken responded to her but the description no say e bi me kwesi kwa atia e bi aka me nka sa I'm sure say Ken kwa no man another opportunity on the on because nipa ye de enyini nipa sua de nipa hu ade but you cannot say Ken etan asofo obi ono de the radio station for the past 19 years ama SDF for your program o on your motekuda obi a for the past almost 25 years afibi o yenkremo for how do they say so time kremo for yes we did the affair so get them di or time on what basis say nipa from a very humble beginning afibia on eye akunafo adoye on eye nyanka doye ye tontoma ye henkwala ye twenkwala school fees ye si hospitals ukọ ne konso so esi won kwa 3 to 6 units classroom block on kwa we see over 77 of them. How then do you say nipa ko we mpe e mo bro why dey asem it depends on the nipa person mo hwe obi ho a yes so the akanfo obi bi say the ota on plasa no also power me say baby sa hoza
o say na also sa kan ni akwesi kwate
na de bibia na bo bibia na wonim ba me ni ma wonim
aba bia ni ho a wonim a
de bo de buwe na nko
yes say the ota no o sa wasa o chia
ne pa
we Wontumi'S
oh there be say waka me say me
enkra didi wutire
enkra didi ho atire me to me enkra ni o kwesi kwate enkra ni o me say o ba ka ni ho bi yakwa me yakwa
ba o yo ba I was here to us
yakwa ba me yo ba ka so hu enti obi tawa o sua wasa no o ye de obu nipa so hu enti sa na akoye with Ken no akoye say people want to measure on the minus but
instead of looking at the pluses no near ma obetima no
o mahini so obi kasa ana say yese ne kokko ha no na obetima create nyuma ma ofa ho be compared to obi a yese ne kokko ha no no master the art of humility
enzo so Wontumi'S
ma hwe
mama watena him
the buba was here ideas oba no akoma letter so ideas yes we presidential so ideas so rich ideas na Brian can say rich ideas go to obi akrum ko rich ideas Bagredam esase spell ye ne ye ba nye 8 years ni Bagredam no nka ye ka one village one dam just build 3 modern dams what I say standard ultra modern dams now they fatuo na ban for about o distribution ni de enko then e kotutu ye eno no rich ideas me ba ya ye ni hu nkomo bi dwom krofo marketing Kumasi ne dwan yedi meboa ne dwan yedi edwa yedi the biggest dwa mo see na this na be see
NDC
go from there so na sadom sabeka how then do you say oh rich ideas your problems as a country no enya de bro so e systemic e de ehu e be see ne ade e de tu lima aban no de tu a champa aban ade e de tu a champa aban no the same reason they did two Nkrumah de aban. And what they did two Akufo, and what they did two Akufo-Addo, and then one also need be two Mahama, and one also has had Mahama side Abba. So the problems has been systemic. The problems are the same. You know, you mind day, and yet, ya quine day, and yet, your hospital any good facilities. Yeah, businessmen for a day, and what you know, may more name about no near Jumania, one move you score more lifestyle and say, my kind of researchers. But we are saying, Nkwala, if you school be a national service, it take a minimum of 10 years for half of that part to get permanent employment. Even after 10 years, the other half will still be searching. Maka ebisu say, or man in terms of employment and especially graduate employment, who will kobo home pim we university. Or mine is nipa 12 be a we school. E mutu pen or mine beti my e recruit. And you need obia or mine or bar or be build the private people. Private people no meti my e be nyuma. All over the world. Now no ababe we could go na Canada. Menya kwenya so tutu kwa kakra. All over the world. Aben bia ni ho na be nyuma mankofo. But you create
the enabling
environment. Say, for instance, say Zoom Lion, say the work is 10,000. Oba, yeah, property owning democracy, the true MPP, no. In a social party, said the night, yeah, social. It's good anyway. By MPP, need the NSA Oba. Zoom Lion for say, despite the work is here, Marco 100, and I say Zoom Lion, my question, Marco 10,000. Kit Zoom Lion, Marco 50. 10,000 times 50, 500,000 jobs. And then the Akotoya day, ever. All over the world, there's a private sector and one more day, a baby, you might be a So that is what Ken is coming to do. And what catch over use Asian model. No? Asian model, the only some identify business community. No, one more you more meet marketing, you man, no more bow. No, make sure so, or mudi or many a day, a DHR. The Kenipa or penny or creative what you may. So far, or the new money in our 100. This time around, I buy the bar, called one team creating nipa, a bit more for nipa 1,000. They say, oh, nipa, 100, and nipa 1,000. Now, was I'm 1,000, I'll create 1 million jobs. That is Ken's model. Because I buy no only capacity, but one wrong when day, one won't continue. And the candy, you must have near.
I want to know more. The statement is more they can buy a better.
Sano Bieka. You don't follow. And I'm
more delegates, no what to say.
Delegates, not us. So the current set of your party, no. One more, Mefasa, Umunya, Quenya. Enya dodode any dibre kese wo party ni mo for the past 16 years or more around one more person who hold on to the control and the influence.
Okay.
Into wo sha
I say 16 years now ananado neighbor Bawumia buy no omo ho a omo ye ministers me ye positions ya no as omo be so omo lose side.
It's de emu ade o kofo ko de ode nkofo nyina akoy ya wie ye na ase ne anya de yanko kakra benya ye no se fu na person akoy afa koye. Se business afire dey fa ko bie se wo fa ase for na wo hwe omo yi a ene o yare kwa mo so be dey e be se ko fo nya afrim but Akufo-Addo no ko ye no Bawumia afrim ti sa ne nkrofo mo ho no ya de nyina no so wo hwe the current structure na
just one so person omo be didi
they still want to no person be didi they still want to one person mo to adidi ene dey eso so into wo hwe a one mo ye make us the bourgeoisies the elite one more penifo na woman no penifo no akodi Bawumia ye dey achi because almost we can dey ontimi nya dey en control no can dey anti establishment oba ye nyina da form ana wo hwa dodo na so a the over 200,000 polling station for no mu say omo ba ye no say be open school placement na no ye dey no oto open national service na no ye dey no oto ono polling station executive no so open police no otwa 20,000 ebi wo ko otwa miensa bi a ya gine sika ye dey
yes handsome fa
one mo so hu say ken asem ken e kan o asem ye dey emo ente the influential people versus the masses. What I say, where Ken stands with the masses. And I don't about me, and also one more. If we are, yes, MPs who could declare, yes, MPs who could declare any other. Has an election I had acquire. But yet, the who say, so you influential, so you when the vote is one. Obia will vote one. We MP, we are vote. MPs, yes, will be brave. But the point is that 2 million are self for a more than the question. And you see the book council for Brazil council a best. Now Bible so or here now come at the Yankopon head and some or see a question so I had or no answer for the baby open or the other ever. Tell you, would you say?
Do you believe in the prophecies?
Yes,
Some prophecies have come. You say Ken will be president. Ken will do.
Me believe in prophecies, but let me state my reservations, which may not be Ken's team reservations. I am also worried about the trend now the church is almost diverting into validating themselves through political prophecies. And very worrying to me. This is what will be say political outcome to be seen. I cannot determine how Nyamede asofo yede ejuma. But you look at best practices.
I come say Wontumi'S politics and come out.
I say who kwa na sa and I have best practices. Say Ghana nkwa na nyame wo. What you say you have best practices across the world. Yenka say nyame nkasa. But how our AC bano, I say it's almost becoming like a trend and we should be worried because the reason I'm saying we should be worried mimi ntia say o nyame sumu. What the always of Benny. So the mandate of the gospel for salvation ultimately. Opinion tesa. Yeah. Let us also not be so
skewed
and veer
on that.
That's I know be here. But no so just me I say a software should not take interest in political activities and political affairs. But I have the air corner. Kamia Koyese is no longer about having an interest in the political affairs, but it's now about who can prophesy. And it's almost becoming a competition.
Okay.
But beyond that, we had the trend in Nadia. And now the Mekachi will be say, second winimpa, why you can make it so small at the Wagana? Because Obia, hey, Usubempo, Bernard, why one enka, Obia, say, Yakupon second or ever. And here they would GDA, but no credit say, we are also not banging our hopes on prophecies. Juma. Prophecies has three main characteristics. It can feel, it can delay, and